Your dad?
He is.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. He's, my whole family just went to Mexico. And went to,
Nice.
and actually Pablo had one of the families that was meeting us. They're an indigenous family in the Oaxaca region, and they had actually. We brought that family up here, and they spent a couple of days on Sartlip with your late brother.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's good. So, you guys are into storytelling and working on stories. That's a natural way our people pass history along through stories. And if you ever looked at our totem pole in the front of the school, you ever looked at it? You on the top, there's Thunderbird carving on the top. And on the next one is, I think it's the raven, the whale, and the wolves. And then the bottom of that is a coil of rope. You ever take a good look at it? That's what's on there. And on all of our designs, it's on the same, on our school logo, it's the same. There's all of that, with all those characters on there. So it's part of our natural history and how our people connected to everything in nature. Our way of living on the land is that the Creator came around here long ago and walked on the lands, spoke to the ancestors. That's how he created that little mountain over here. They call it Cloud up now. We call it, Polynesians call it Mount Newton. They named it after some Dr. Newton that used to work in Victoria. But our name is Cloud. That was created by Clouds are created when he arrived to a little beach and sailed. You know when you're going to go to the point with the spit this, and little spit there, there's a little beach on that side. And that place is called Panac. That little beach, Panac, is a special place where he came ashore there by canoe trails. And he got to the shore and there's some nice rocks on the beach. You ever seen those ones down the beach? They're round, about that big. They're smooth. They're round. There were some of those on. There used to be lots there on the beach. But he came there and he got out of his canoe and he walked up and he picked up one of those rocks. He tossed it in this way. It landed up there somewhere. Up that way. Nothing grew. But he took another step and he picked up another one. Tossed it in. The second one grew that mountain. That mountain there now it grew from that stone. That kind of a cone we call it, stone we call it Quintalis. Quintalis we call it. It means your original vision. If you interpret that word Quintalis. Smooth black stone. And they're still sacred to our people because of that. And so was that little beach over there. So when nowadays, when someone passes in our family, and then they go to the funeral and all that, and the family does all of the necessary ceremonies, in order to use sharp things again, like knives and things like that, the family has to go through a little ceremony. So they bring them over to that beach. And the beach is still special over there to us, where Kellis came in. And that's where they go through the ceremony. Certain members in our tribe have that right to help them be able to use sharp objects and knives and things again. So once they do that, and then they can start using sharp things again. So while the funeral is on, they don't have any sharp things. They got to use a spoon when they eat and stuff, knife and stuff like that. That's still a special place because when Kellis finished that, making that mountain, and he had a little basket, and he picked up some more of those stones, and he went up there with his basket, and people followed him up there to that mountain, and he tossed them around, you know, these mountains, and we made the rest of the mountains from those stones. So that's the beginning of storytelling with our people and our history, that kind of thing. And it created all kinds of things in the world, and our ancestors were there when they did it. And whether it was a mountain, a hill, or the sand, or the lake within the sea, created for our people to be in our homeland territory. And even the winds, the stress, the spigot, the steelwood, and the zartach. So the southeast, southwest, northwest, and northeast winds, they used to be people long ago, but he changed them to be the winds. And each of those winds had a special character of its own. So this southeast wind that brings us rain, every time it comes this way, even if it's kind of nice like this, and if you look up, you see the clouds are starting to come from that way, over down towards college, you know it's going to change, it's going to start raining. Or if you're out on a boat out here in the bay maybe, and you look up and you see the winds are kind of flying a little faster, going that way, from Gold Stream going over that way, you better come in. It's going to be a windy wind. That brings us to windy weather. But if it's pouring rain and cloudy, it's been like that for a few days, and you look up in the sky and you see the winds coming from that, like clouds coming down this way, and then you'll notice that the weather's going to change. It's going to stop raining, and it's going to get sunny and nice again. Even we call it, weather's going to get better. And this wind that blows from the north, we just finished with that kind of weather where we have freezing weather. Remember we had a little bit of snow and stuff was freezing? It was that wind that was blowing then. It only comes after November, what we call a Questlena moon. It doesn't blow until then. After that, then winter starts coming on, and that wind starts to blow. That's its character. Because when they were human beings, it's thought that they were sisters, and they didn't get along. But one was always jealous of the other one. One was always getting a little praise because she worked hard and she was good at things, and the sister was the other sister. The sister was kind of jealousy of her, so she never gave her much praise. She always kind of made fun of her handiwork, things like that. And so when the creator changed, we put them opposing to each other, and the stress and the thoughtless, they still oppose each other as winds today. So when the freezing weather comes, pushes down this way, brings the freezing weather, but if there's stress that's pushing her back, then that freezing weather goes back up north again. We have lots of stories about stuff like that in our history, and I just want to relate you kids to that because it's our way of telling history and telling our stories of how we understand even the weather. Let's look at this. So when we do our prayers, thoughts and prayers, we can mention those. It's great. It's good to see you again.
It's great, John.
Good to see you. This is where you work, eh?
Yeah.
All right. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah, because that's the way that all these teachings about the weather and stuff start to happen with those kind of stories about the winds. It's nice to see, I see you going somewhere, but I don't know where you always go. You go over here somewhere and I don't have much to do with the high school anymore because I got out of here. I used to teach in this high school.
Yeah.
I taught here for 6 years when it first opened. And then I got finished teaching over here. And they put me over there to be working with the elders. That's what it's over there all these years. So it's kind of nice to get back into the high school again. And it's changed a lot because they got a new addition since I moved here. It's nice. We used to just wish for that. What's down there now, all that shop and all that other business. We used to work outside. We used to have to work outside. I used to teach carving. I used to teach carving in my class. Carve with the kids. But I'm telling you about these stories, how the stories go. You know, and I was talking about our totem pole. Okay? Was the thunderbird, the whale, the raven, and the wolf. The wolf was holding her arms like this. She's a female wolf, and she's holding her arms like this. She's got a little baby wolf with it one here. Like that. You ever notice that? That represents you students, our young ones in our school, in the protection of the wolves. So that's you, those wolves on there. The whale is our connection to the sea life. Sea life. They too were human beings at one time. There's stories about how they came to be, those guys. And then there's the raven on there. Ravens on there, and on our new vests from the adult set. Did you ever notice that design? On there, there's a raven sitting on the head of a canoe. That comes from our story about the flood. When the flood was over, that raven landed on the bow of the canoe. It's over 10,000 years ago for us Spanish people when that happened. And the Spanish people used to have what's called a chihuahua. Chihuahua is four-seater, not just one, 2 or 3 chihuahua. They were plump ladies, strong ladies, and they prayed all the time, every day, and they were very spiritual. So it was their job to try and see the future, what's coming. And in their prayer one day, just praying to Chaos, and Chaos told her that there can be a big flood coming. And every day the leader would consult with the show. And she said to him, I want you to be aware that there's going to be a great flood coming. And you should get things ready. You're supposed to get everything ready. You got to make a long rope. And that rope has to be strong enough to hold us because the land's going to flood everywhere. And we have to be ready for that. You're supposed to get everything you need together that's important to you. Put it in storage baskets and boxes, load it on the canoe, have it ready. And it's coming soon. Sure enough, the water came up, but the tides came up. You know who told us one of those stories first? Henry Smith and Agnes.
Oh, yeah.
They used to come to our school and tell these stories.
Yeah.
That was your grandpa, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Your grandpa, your granddad.
Yeah.
They're my dad's relatives.
Mm-hmm.
And Tlamachus is Tom Smith's name, right?
Yeah, it's my
But-
dad.
Yeah, and then he's Henry Smith's dad.
Edward Smith, yeah.
Henry Smith's dad, his name was Tlamachus, right?
Yeah.
And he was, my grandmother was their nieces from Swanton.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother was started way over there. That's how we're related to your family. He loved his nieces when they came here back home. He came along to make sure his nieces were going to be okay. That's our up and up and up. Sure enough, they had to hurry up and get everything loaded on the canoes, and then it got flooded. Water came right up, they paddled up there, and they tied onto the top of the mountain, onto the Arvita Street, we call Coco East. They tied onto there, and all the canoes tied together. And then the water even rose higher than that. And the rope, all they could see is the rope go down to the top of the mountain, so it must have been a treacherous time. I couldn't imagine it, because that's pretty high if you're up there. You go up there and you look across, can you imagine that? And they were praying to survive. Praying to the Creator, please survive. And I got talking about it because it's put up. There's a picture of that, that's why it's on there. Design. Prayed and prayed, and finally put up. The raven came along and he landed on the head of the canoe, one of the canoes. He's carrying it. We called something, this shot, he was biting a stick like that. And he was kinda, you ever see the ravens when they're kinda talking to you? They go like that, you ever hear them talking like that? They're trying to talk to you, and that's what he was doing. He was kinda talking to the people on the canoe. And somebody says, he's trying to tell us something. He's trying to tell us something. And then they could, from the top of the mountain, they could see in the distance away. You know that if you go to Red Barn over there on West Ennis Road, there's that little mountain there. That mountain is starting to, the water's starting to go down. They can see from up top there that the water's going down now. They said, need one that looks at us. They said, look what's emerging. The land was emerging over there. They knew then that they're going to survive this terrible, terrible time. So the raven was the one that brought the good news of that to the people along the top. So he became a kind of a character in our own history. In our own history. And he's on our pole there at Calvary School because he's an important character to us. In our way, he's a teacher. He teaches us. He teaches us through his actions how we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be lazy. We shouldn't be greedy. Things like that. But the stories are kind of funny. It's like all the stories about God is when he's kind of a teacher to us, but he's always doing something else. He's never happy being his own self. He's always wishing to be someone else. We call that sheet up in Central. Sheet, and this what it means. He's kind of wishing he was someone else.
So he likes change.
Mm-hmm. So, what are the stories that Uncle Henry used to tell us when they came to our school? Talked about Raven going berry picking with his sisters. Going berry picking out at the islands with his sisters. And he was, they got out there, they got their baskets for picking filling with berries and things like that. It's pretty warm weather then. Pretty warm. And so he went up with his sisters, and oh gosh, the berry bushes were full. He's picking berries because they're all some picking berries, some getting lots of berries. And it's getting pretty hot. So he said to his sisters, I'll take these baskets down to the canoe down there, and You guys carry on, fill some more of the baskets, I'll come back and get them a little while, but I'll take these down and I'll probably have to stay down there and look after them, he says. He's kind of had a plan of his own, to put up the raven. And his plan was to be able to go down there and kind of sit around in the shade, look after the berries. But that was his way of getting down there, staying up there in the sun, working with them sisters. Kind of praised him. You're doing a good job. You're doing a real good job. Keep on doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. Fill up those baskets, and I'll go around there and look after the berries. He said, so they go up down. I'll come back and get some more in a little while. He's down there. He's really getting dry throat, getting a real dry throat in that heat. So thirsty, so thirsty. I wonder if I should have a berry. Maybe that berry would help me. So he kind of looked around, he took a berry, ate it, oh, nice and juicy. Nice and juicy, that berry. Guess I'll have another one. Nobody's gonna know, eat another one. Eat another berry. He started just enjoying the taste of those berries. Started to enjoy it. Pretty soon he's looking in his basket. Half his berries are gone already. He's supposed to be looking after them for the sisters. He said, what am I going to tell them now? What are we going to tell them now? What happened to these berries? He said, well, maybe I could tell them that I got raised while I was down there and I had to fight some of the more enemies off. So he took some of the berries and he wiped it on himself like that. And it looked like he's bleeding. So the sisters came and said, well, what happened to the berries? I had to fight the enemies that were here. So, but before they came down, he had some of the, the duck feathers in the bottom of the canoe. He took and he threw it on the water like that. He threw it on the water like that, and they floated out like that. And they went out and it was a tide. And from a distance, their little feathers were like this. They looked like little sails of the canoes and the canoe sails. They looked like little canoe sails. He said, he told his sisters, look, there they are, they're going now. There they go now, I had to fight them off by myself. I got hurt, he said. I got hurt. It wasn't really blood, it was just the juice of the berries. And I guess he didn't know that there was a little chaos, it's called a little chaos, but it's a little slug hiding under the seat. But he saw what was going on. And he says, he spoke up and he said, no, he says, that's not really what happened. He's just saying that to you, that happened. It's not really true. It's not really happened. He said, he was eating the berries because he was so thirsty. That's what happened to him. He didn't really fight those and guys out and he didn't steal half the berries. He just ate it all. He ate it all. Yeah. So he got caught in what he was doing because the Geoffrey told on him. He had to tell the truth of what happened. He was just thirsty. But he was, in that story that he was being lazy. And it's one of the things that is told over and over and over in a lot of the stories about how Raven is trying to get out of work. He's trying to get out of work, and so it's a way of telling the stories to the young people. That in life we shouldn't be lazy, like Raven will tell us. Don't be lazy. Oh, don't be lazy like Raven. Get out, help one another. Don't let them other ones do the work. So like in our families, in Santa's families, we have to teach the young ones, help each other, work together. It makes it easy. When we were kids, my dad used to say, many hands makes light work. Many hands makes light work. It makes us all stay busy doing something, helping each other. So that's one of our own ways of telling the young ones through a story. Like they find it working. Remember, there was no such thing as TV, no such thing as a radio back in those days. And so stories were like entertainment. They were real entertainment. You could get these real clear visions in your head when you get these stories of the kind of a character that Raven was when he was going off to pick berries with his sisters. Let's go, and he got them all, got them really going good picking berries. And as soon as he got a basketball, he said, I'm going to look after these, I'll take them in the boat. And look after it down in the canoe. Although he had a plan to kind of get out of the sun, it was pretty hot over there. Of course, he kind of praised him. You're doing a good job. Keep on going. You're really doing well. So pretty soon we'll have enough berries. I'll take these down and come back into the well and get some more. But all part of his own plan of how he was going to get out of work. So you probably hear it from your parents, or you probably heard it from your parents when you were just a kid. Told me to sit down, help out. That's what it means, right? So in that story, the raven is teaching us that we shouldn't get out of work, try to get out of work. We have to be self-disciplined. Look after our place, keep our nice place. Our place is nice. Teach our kids to be like that. We call it cheat in Sintana. Cheat means you're not lazy. Means you like to be working. You're cheating, or you could say ambitious. Cheat. It's pronounced cheating. Be ambitious in that. Same with you ones, as you're growing up and you got the young ones younger than yourselves, in your homes and your family. Tell them, help us out. Let's do it together. Because then they'll have a nice place when they grow up. They have a nice food. Well, I know what it's like to be young and a teenager. I was tired too. I was growing too at one point in my life at home with my parents. My dad would say, get up, tell us like that. His dad, kind of a strong voice to us. Get up, get out of bed. Stand by the door and he says, well, I'm waiting for you to sit up. Not leaving the store until you sit up. Swing our legs up the bed. Sit up. He says, no, stand up and turn around and make your bed. Just tell us every day. Until it was a habit for us to do that. To be looking after our own space. He said, and do that every day. As soon as you get up, put your feet on the floor, turn around and make your bed so it's nice. You don't have to come to an unmade bed, and it's not your mother's job, he'd say to us. Not your mother's job. It's your job. You look after it, it's your place. That's what he would tell us. So that kind of teaching comes from those simple little stories. We tell the children, don't be lazy, be ambitious. So that's the one story that I wanted to share with you today from Uncle Henry. He taught us when we were young in school. We used to come up to the elementary school. It used to be a 3-room school here, 3 classes here. Patio on this end and a patio on that side. We used to come up here too. They'd come in and visit with us and tell us stories. They even had a little dance group back in the day, years ago. Come and go and sing some songs. harder back in the day, cause back in those days, people were still being punished for speaking language. So when you feel like you're gonna be lazy, kick yourself out of that feeling and get up and do something, cause you'll feel better. You feel better for yourself when you're sitting there saying, "Oh, I don't really do nothing." You know, kick yourself out of that position and say, standing, get up and help out. Geez, I remember when we were kids, we used to burn wood. Burn wood, so we had to get up the bush, cut the wood, pack the wood. I remember they fell a tree, my dad, they fell a tree with the crosscut handsaw, fell a tree. And they were way up the bush. We were up there, we were watching in and out the tree down there, he started cutting blocks off. Knocked the limbs all off the tree, and the blocks. My dad had these, he made us these, they're made out of a buggy handle, the baby's buggy. Used to be a lot of old buggies, they used to throw them away, and they'd save, my dad would save the handles off the buggy handle. And so he cut the wood, blocks of wood, so there are two blocks fit between these buggy handles. And so, each of us young boys had our own set of buggy handles. And then, it cut two blocks, and then they wouldn't cut them, separate the two. They wouldn't cut it right through, so you could get a short little spikes like that and nail into those, either side of that block. And say, okay, roll that down to the house. So from the bush, we had to roll it down to the house. And when we rolling those buggy handles go down that hill like that, and those doggone blocks of wood they were now straight, you know. They're bumping along, and then where they first fell that tree, there was no trail into there. He says, "Well, take it to the house." He says, "Well, how are we gonna get through the bush?" He says, "You're gonna make a trail. Get going. Go on." We had to go through the bushy area to get up to the road part. Get going. Get up there, go on, boys. The brush was like Salal and stuff like that. I had to go through there. After we went through there a few times, it looked like a trail. There, he says, "It's a trail now. You guys made that trail." And he did have myself, my brother Dave, my brother Rob, Charles and him were sawing, my brother Charles and him were sawing the blocks up with the crosscut saw. Getting this ready. Run down the road, he said, "Be careful on the road, if there's any cars, go across. When there's no cars, we get down to the road and cross and go right into the yard, take those handles off and go back up and get some more." That's how we got our blocks of wood home back when we were kids. But they made us work. Then we went to this school. School used to go to grade 6 here. Grade 1 to grade 6. It was a Catholic school. Nuns and they used to teach us. Then they wanted us to go to another Catholic school when we left here in grade 7. So they sent us to Victoria, to all boys Catholic school called St. Louis College. And we were glad then that my dad made us work, because the boys wanted to fight with us in that school. They wanted to test us out. First Nations kids, they wanted to fight with us. So we were lucky enough, we were strong enough to fight with them. When they wanted to fight, we could protect ourselves from that. We were lucky we were strong enough by then. So it was kind of tougher back in those days. You're lucky you got our own school. We didn't have that. We didn't have that. We went to where folks got nowadays. Yeah. So when I tell you about that ambition and those ambitious ways, that doesn't just mean here. that just means it's open to everybody. If you see somebody that's struggling, help them along. My dad used to say, you know, you have a young, strong body, you see it out there going around, packing the heavy load, help them along. Grab something and help them. She lady used to go by my house to go and help her, tell the kids, go and help her bring her bags home. She was tired of coming from the bus, help her. And then when you get home, one day you'll be home. And they say, if you help someone, then when you get old, someone will help you. That's our law, we call that skill. We call that our own law, unskill. What you do in life, whether it's positive or negative, it's gonna come back to you. That's part of that. So I'm sorry I came late, I was going to share the one story, but it's a story that's important to us all, to be ambitious in our ways. And we have a kindness in our way of teaching. A kindness. Not like we should do in college where we went, our boys that went to college. The first time I got a strap in St. College, because I had no dictionary. You see, all those that didn't bring their dictionary, stand up. We left this school, we went to this. And there, anybody that didn't bring their dictionary, stand up. So I didn't bring mine, we never had one at the house. We did have one, it was about this thick. It was kind of like an encyclopedia, told us we had to tell. And I was in the back bench at school every day. So I didn't have one, so I stood up, line up, went up and got our strapping, because we had no dictionary. So you guys are lucky, we got a good school where we got kindness in the teachings, you know. When you're teaching others younger than you, remember that our people are kind in the way we teach. There's a kind way to teach them and speak to them. So you're not going to put them down, kind of praise them, make them feel good about working together. Those are important things to know, whether it's here or at home. And that's the way we make good Sanders people, good strong. You have a strong Sanders family here, a strong Sanders family there, and with those values inside you, you're going to have a strong community that works together. That's all I have to say for you today. Lisa, that's all. There's more of those stories. I got a few of those baby stories. I have to come back to every day.
Yeah, did you see, well, and you saw the raven that Matthew put in our bottom.
Oh my.
Did you see that
I
one
don't
yet?
think I saw it.
We should have a look at it on our
Okay.
way out
Yeah.
here. But it's, I think it's.
Break now. You're gonna take a break, and then you got active living, and I think you gotta hit the bag for a bit, get some of your hands out, because you were sitting here the only one who had coffee.
And I was looking at, here's CJ George, and he's got his collar sweatshirt on, but he's got a razor with on the back of his phone, and he's got a necklace on for top. And, yeah, so
All right.
he's still here watching over us.
Thank you.